السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله عز وجل: وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. صدق الله العظيم. So, honorable listeners, those of us who have been listening, those of us who started listening a couple of, what's been 12 months now since the beginning of the pandemic, it's been approximately 11, 12 months. So those of us who were tuning in then, but then, the hype died down. That's what happens. Something starts trending. GameStop was trending for a little while. Nevertheless, silver is trending now. But when the hype for these things dies down, unfortunately, that's what happens. Iman goes up, Iman comes down. We stop tuning in for these reminders. Not because I'm trying to promote myself in my own lecture. No, because we need to be reminded. Every single one of us needs to be reminded, especially in this day and age now. If we're not listening, if we're not using what Allah has blessed us with in terms of technology, in terms of everything else that's at our disposal, to get closer to Him, oh boy, these are tools that can be used for destruction. So if we don't use these as a means of getting closer to Allah, we are definitely going further and further away from Allah. I walked into my niece's room earlier today, and she said, I'm watching football. And I said, no, you're not watching football. You're watching a movie or something. She goes, no, it was football. I guess maybe during the movie there was some football being played. But nevertheless, there's so much harm that can come out of these same tools that can be used perhaps to inspire us, to encourage us to get closer to Allah. And this is the time that we're living in. This is the era that we're living in, and it's a sad reality. But to some people, to live without a gadget, to live without the internet, to live without this or that has become impossible. And very frankly, to bring this up and to relate this to what we're going to be talking about today, there are people who claim and say that it's impossible to be living in this world without having to take interest. It is impossible for us to live in this world, to live in this day and age, to live in this part of the world without having to deal with interest. Yes, there are so many individuals who live an interest-free life. That may not be the very common example, ideally, or that is what, of course, every believer should aspire for. But realistically, it's going to be difficult. There are people who are going to have to cut out so many things from their lives if they want to live in this manner. But there are people. For anybody to say that there's nobody today that lives a life that is free of interest in any way, it's a false claim. Remember this, there are people, I know individuals who, believe me, don't have cell phones. I know people living in North America who have absolutely not a single credit card. I know individuals who don't carry a wallet around. These are people living in Timbuktu or Madagascar. These are people living here in North America, in the West, in the most advanced, secularly advanced, arguably, part of the world, that don't have cell phones, that don't carry a credit card, that have no wallet. Yeah, sure, they may have a bank balance to their names, but it is possible. It is definitely doable, but it is not going to be as easy as it seems. I may just be sitting here like a parrot going on, but I make use of a credit card. So we live in a society where it's around us, but how do we deal with this dilemma? You're going to have to deal with it. Very frankly, many people are going to need credit cards. They say it's one of the things that you need in this country. Ma'adallah. This is what the people say, not what Allah says, not what the Prophet said. But you need a good credit score. And if a person doesn't have a good credit score, good luck trying to get a job. Good luck trying to secure, unfortunately, sadly, tragically, a good mortgage for yourself. These are things that build up a person. His profile just keeps getting better and better. And it starts with a credit card. It does. Very frankly, he got himself, she got herself a credit card at the age of 18, and they started working towards their credit, paying off their bills until by the time they're 29, they want to live the American dream and they want to own a house. That's what they want. That's what they think is going to bring them happiness. They think we have money, money buys things, things brings happiness. This is a philosophy, this is an alchemy, this is wrong. For a lack of better words. This is not where happiness comes from. The same happiness that people seek, the same contentment, the same satisfaction, the same peace of mind and peace of heart that people are looking for. It is not found, وَرَبِّ الْكَعْبَةِ. It is not found in the things of this world. It is found in the remembrance of Allah. We need to make this clear before we go into how to deal with this dilemma. So yes, there are people that are involved. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. There are those that are involved on a very minute scale. And they too are very afraid of what they will have to do when they stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So understand, there are those that are involved. And for whatever reason, it was either something that they were involved in prior to them making this, bringing about this change in their lives and turning towards Allah, or it was something that they just, it just happened, or, we can actually give examples of this later on as well. But they understand that this indeed is something wrong, and I need to work my way out. And unless I don't start making dua to Allah, and unless I don't start budget planning properly, and unless I don't start, stop living this life of fulfilling my false hopes and dreams, it's not going to happen. So they're actually trying. They're on the journey. They've started the journey towards abandoning and disowning that displeasing style of living to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're trying. And then there are others who simply say, but brother, it's impossible, brother. You can't live in this part of the world, brother. You have to. You have to have one. You have to own one. It's the American dream, not the believer's dream, because Allah didn't make. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, عليك بتقوى الله. No, he said another one. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, anyways, I can't remember the whole thing that he said, but he said, لا دار للمرء بعد الموت يسكنها إلا التي كانت قبل الموت يبنيها فإن بناها بخير طاب مسكنه وإن بناها بشر خاب بانيها. There is no abode for somebody in the life hereafter who didn't construct and make and design and create their abode in this world. You can't be living like a king, displeasing the king of all kings in this world, hoping you're going to live like this in the life hereafter as well. It doesn't work like that. That is not how it works. It's either you're working for this world or you're working for the next. كونوا من أبناء الآخرة ولا تكونوا من أبناء الدنيا. We were sitting with a group of youngsters just a couple of weeks ago, and I started to explain to them that no, you can't listen to music. And we don't change these views. These are not going to change because we've changed our venues. We've changed our whereabouts, or we've changed our geographic regions on the earth. No. This is what the ulama said. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْتَرِي لَهْوَ الْحَدِيثِ لِيُضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ. This is referring to music. So we're sitting there and you're talking to people. They listen to music to hypnotize, to literally bring themselves it's melodious, it's soothing to their ears, to their heart. And you're sitting there telling them, no, you're not allowed to do it. And just before they pop, crackle, or snap, they tell you, what? So, we can't listen to music? For some people, their life revolves around this displeasing, disobedient act of Allah. But you're telling me we can't? No, you can't. And then you make them understand, but wait, this isn't what Allah created for you. One of the people said, we're not the people of this world trying to make it to Jannah. We're the people of Jannah trying to get out of this world. That's who the believer is. We are trying to make it out of this world. We are from Jannah. Allah Ta'ala created. Yahya bin Ma'adh Razi rahimahullah used to say, إلهنا خلقت الجنة وجعلتها وليمة لأوليائك وآيست الكفار منها وأنت مستغن عنها فإن لم تعطنا الجنة فلمن تكن الجنة. He says, oh Allah, you created it. And the disbelievers, they've lost hope. They're not getting it. They're despondent. And then the angels don't need it. And you, obviously, the King of all kings, the Creator of all kings, you don't need it. So if you're not going to give Jannah to us, the believers, who then did you create Jannah for? That is what Allah made for all the days that we don't listen to music, for all the days that we don't look at the haram that some people just spend hours fantasizing over, for all the things that we wanted to do because our nafs told us to do and shaitan pushed us to do. We said, nope. There is an abode far greater than this one awaiting every one of us. That is what we aspire for. Therefore, the mortgage, out the door. The music, out the door. And anything else displeasing to Allah, I don't want it no more. It's not easy. It's much, much easier said than done. So how do we deal with this anyways, okay? Is it even possible for me to be living in this part of the world and worshiping Allah or living a life that's pleasing to Allah? If it is possible, then you've got banks, you've got financing institutes, you've got mortgages, you've got a million other things to worry about that deal directly or indirectly with interest. Yet you've got to live your life that's pleasing to Allah. So is this possible or not? That's the $1 million question. And if it isn't, if it is or isn't, how do we deal with it? Yes, we're living here. Yes, it's there. It's prevalent. It's everywhere. How do we deal with this? Number one, there's credit that people are afraid of it going down. And there's credit cards that everybody thinks is a must to have and carry around. That's a false notion. That's a misunderstanding or it's a misconception. It's not necessary, mandatory for every single person to have a credit card. No, not at all. As a matter of fact, if we go into statistics, I can't remember exactly how many people it was, but there are a great amount of people that may not have one, though the average is 2 credit cards per person in Canada. There are people who don't have one. My father being an example, my mother being an example, real life examples. However, the average Canadian has 2. But how do we deal with this? Yes, we need our credit, or you want your credit score, your credit score to go up, right? Though the only credit we should be actually worried about, now this might be the more extreme side of me speaking, the only credit that we need is credit in the eyes of Allah. They said about the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, majhulun fil ardi wa ma'rufun fis sama. They didn't care about who cared what about them in this world, because they had the ones in the angels the angels in the heavens chanting their names. We're worried about what the people are saying. I remember, I don't know if it was Will Smith that said this, but somebody attributed it to him. We buy things that we don't need with money we don't have to please people who don't care. We buy things we don't need with money we don't have. There's one more aspect to it as well. Nevertheless, the last part is the worst. We do it to please people who don't care. Whether it was him or somebody else who's being quoted as to having said this, regardless, this is a problem. This is a huge, colossal disease. And the believers should not have been prey to something like this today. No! The believer, his aspirations, goals, ambitions, and dreams are Jannah. And Jannah is a whole different realm. It's a whole different dimension. Allah created something else, completely something else, to reward us for the good that we do in this world. So now, the concept of this whole thing is what? You get a credit card. Why? Because you buy now, and you don't got to worry. You don't pay till 6 months. Don't pay for 1 year. You're buying something now, and you're paying later. And Lord forbid if you're not able to, or some calamity strikes before that due date comes. So you pay before it's too late. So you must pay, what was it? Yes, you don't wait for the due date before it's too late. That's what many of us do. Very sadly, it's not, not every one of us. We wait. The moment you receive that notification, you receive that email, telling you that your credit card bill is due, and it's due on the 10th of, per se, it's due on the 10th of March. So you receive this email perhaps on the 26th of February. When this email is received by you, do not delete this email. Don't put this email under the carpet. Don't brush it aside. Take this seriously. For not taking this email seriously is having to wage war with Allah. We would ideally advise that you take any credit card that you own or you have your name written on, you cut it into 2 pieces and you send it right back to the institution or the agency that sent it to you in the first place. And boy, do those people do a tremendous job. Even before your credit card expires, the brand new credit card is already out in the mail and waiting at your door. This is what we would advise ideally, the extreme me. But then no, you have to deal with it. You want that credit score, you want it to go up. Ultimately, it might help you in the long run. Sure, I understand. So what you do in that case? The moment that notification is received, and keep that notification on. If it's Capital One, if it's Visa or MasterCard, if it's Amex or whatever it is, there's a million credit cards out there today. Whatever it is that's giving you that notification, oh, should you ever be grateful to it. You should be very thankful for that notification because it's telling you, hey, you should probably consider taking this email into consideration, dear customer, before you go to war with your Lord. That's exactly what's happening. No, it's okay. It happens sometimes. Like, I don't think we understand the magnitude of these words. It happens sometimes. Sometimes I don't get to pay my bill on time. Why on earth, if you're not responsible and disciplined enough to be able to pay that credit card on time, who told you to get one in the first place? Why do you think it's okay? I mean, I'm not the mufti to issue a ruling. You should not have one if you're not able to pay the bill on time. This is very simple. You don't have to have read so many volumes to understand this much. You were not able, you're not disciplined, you're not in control of your budget, of your finances, of your money. Why did you apply for that credit card in the first place? So you did. Now the moment that notification is read by you, just pay. I mean, just get the money from somewhere and pay. But now, if you don't have the money in your bank, in your checking account, what are you going to do? What does the person do? Why does this person then buy something he was going to pay later for when this is his financial crisis? He's in a crisis. Why would this person opt for using a credit card in the first place? This is a very big problem. It's a tremendous problem. I had a friend somewhere in the west of Canada. You have no clue who I'm referring to, and you don't know where his venue is. I asked him, we were having this discussion on credit cards and interest once, and I won't lie, sometimes you feel a little sympathy, a little generosity. I thought maybe I could help the man out. So the average interest, the average amount that people owe, that they're indebted to, like they need to pay this amount. The average every month is about $2,627. That's the average in Canada. This man had a debt, and this is nothing. And I tell you, this is nothing. I mean, if you were to analyze, to assess some other stories, these will blow your minds away. But this is a young man my age. I mean, I guess, may Allah save us, may Allah protect us, may Allah save us and protect us forever. He had debt. He had credit card debt. I mean, he was paying an interest. And remember, the numbers don't go down. Yes, you may be paying every month, but as long as you haven't paid that number, that amount in its entirety, it only goes up. Because this is what is so non-economical, and this is what the whole world revolves around, and this is why the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer, and this is, anyways. So what happens here? $17,000 in credit card bills, interest that's added up. Why why choose to even go for one in the first place if this is what a person's condition is economically? Okay? So what is it? Don't wait. I've got till the 10th of March. Do not wait for the due date before it's too late. I like this rhyme. Do not wait for the due date before it's too late, because wallahi, it will happen. It just will happen that you will on one occasion miss the date. It's just going, you forgot, you traveled abroad, you had some other problem to take care of in your life, and it just kept you preoccupied and busy, and you forgot to pay that bill. It's going to happen one day, and it happened to me. This was approximately 5 years ago, and I was speaking to my family, and they said, yeah, we need to pay this bill. I said, what? That bill is paid on this month every single month without, like, I mean, I didn't even think twice, and I didn't even think why there was a need to bring about this discussion. Oh no, but because you went here, I'd gone for Hajj or something. No, but Hajj was 3 years ago. I don't know what happened, or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And lo and behold, I mean, you're telling me we didn't pay this credit card bill before it was due. This is huge. So, here, these are solutions. These are, this is what you need to know. For those who are very, very cautious and careful when it comes to this, and you probably have a very untainted, untarnished record in paying your bills on time, pick up the phone and call the agency and tell them, listen, this is the first time in my 10 years that it slipped. I literally it slipped my mind. You look up my records and you find nothing but green. Fair enough. They let me slide. I don't know if they'll ever do it again. But that was the first time, insha'Allah, bi'idhnillah, the last time. I still remember, not because I'm the sage of the age or ascetic or some saint. We read in the Quran, فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا فَأْذَنُوا بِحَرْبٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. If you don't want to leave interest, my dear brothers and sisters, you prepare to go to war with Allah and His Messenger. That's not, there isn't a single act of disobedience, a single sin in the Quran where you're going to war with Allah and His Messenger. So, don't wait for the due date before it's too late. Keep that in mind. Okay, if it does happen, tell them, you better let me slide. I've been doing business with you for almost 10 years, 15 years, some of you 30, 40 years, and you've never come across something like this. Please let it go. And if not, I don't need your business. I'm cutting this card in 2 pieces and sending it right back to you. Oh, before you do that, they'll send you the newest card with the newest promotion, with the newest this, and you've got nothing to worry about. They don't want to lose you or your business. Therefore, they will definitely let you slide. But as for that individual who makes every effort to pay it on time. Number 2, how to deal with these banks. So, ideally, we don't open any accounts that have any interest with them. Very frankly, very simply put. So we opt for a checking account and not a saving account. This is what is ideal. This is what we hope for. This is, as a matter of fact, we have organizations, Islamic organizations across North America who've used the same accounts where there's absolutely no interest involved. That is fine, okay? Now, if perchance you didn't have that account in the past, you didn't know, you've been using a savings account all along, and this interest has been, though it's only a few cents at times, but it's been accumulating, it's been collecting over time. What you're expected to do in that condition now is you're expected to give that money in sadaqah without the intention of accruing any reward. Because you're not doing something, this money is absolutely haram. I don't use this word very often. You're not allowed to access that money. Some people might tell you, why don't you just keep it in the bank? No. If I can't have it, the bank shouldn't have it either. I'm going to take this money out. I'm going to withdraw it from the bank, and then I'm going to make sure it's calculated, and this is exactly what the fixed amount is, and I'm going to take it from there. I'm going to give it in sadaqah, hoping thereby that I get absolutely no reward from it. Period. That is the solution. This applies to anybody with any account that's got interest dealing with it. If you've got the TFSA account, because stocks were always big, but nowadays I guess it's maybe because of the people that are more relevant to me in my life, some people are going haywire on stocks. If you've got a TFSA account, you need to contact the company. You need to contact the agency. Let them know that due to religious reasons, I am not allowed to use, to consume, to make any benefit, to take any benefit from this interest that it accumulates in my account. You tell them, you explain it to them, they'll understand. We've got numerous examples of this. Amazingly enough, only yesterday, I sent a letter and an email. I forgot to call, but I sent the email and I shipped out the letter from the post office right to the TD Investing some office in Steeles, telling them I've got a TFSA account and I do not want that interest. This stuff is possible. This is how you deal with the dilemma. However, we've got banks now. We've got Islamic banks. But you know what's terrible? We got 50 Islamic banks, or maybe more now, in 23 different countries. We don't have a single one of these in Canada. So we're going to have to deal with whatever we have. Though there are people, again, as far-fetched and unreal as this may seem, there are people who don't have bank accounts. I'm not saying this is the extreme me just putting it out there. I'm not saying go and cancel your bank account. No. Okay, what about those people when they got a check? They go to Money Mart, they cash it out. What about when they got to pay somebody? Hey, they go and make a money order from the agency or from wherever they got to make the money order from. But nevertheless, keep that in mind. As a matter of fact, 6% of people in Canada, that's 2.2 million people, 6% don't even have bank accounts. Pretty interesting. These are Canadian statistics. So because we have to, opt for that account that is interest-free. Number 3, and now what about the interest that you own? I've told you earlier, you're going to give it in sadaqah with hope of no reward thereby, and you don't keep it in the bank. If I can't have it, the bank can have it, because that's it, period. Number 4, the interest that we owe. In that case, what you're going to do now, you have to make sure you ask the agency. I mean, if hopefully it's only happening once. I mean, these are, by the mercy of Allah, I've never had to go deep, but, just that one incident in my life, and I think that may just possibly be it. As far as I can remember, maybe when I was younger, I had a savings account. I didn't understand any of this. But you need to email them. If it's for that person who cares, that person who's worried, who doesn't want to go to war with Allah, email them, call them, do whatever you can, communicate with them, do whatever you possibly can to correspond with them, but let them know that this is not how we roll. We can't go like this. We can't be dealing with interest like this. Do whatever you can to tell them that Islamically, religiously, I'm not allowed this. Like it's not permissible. I don't want this. So please, if you can allow it, just forgive me. This is part of you making an effort, a person making an effort to be forgiven by the company for the interest that they've got to give. This is part of the tawbah, the repentance that a person is making to be forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we need to take a stand. And this could be a good opportunity for giving da'wah as well. Like, so why is it that's so serious? Because it's serious, because God said so in the Holy Book, and that's the bottom line. Make dua to Allah, start budgeting, start planning accordingly. This is what you've got to do. If you've been involved with interest for for some time, and you want Allah to forgive us, you need to make dua, you need a budget. You need to stop spending on things that you can't buy with money you don't have. You understand? You need to start planning. You need to start your finances. They need to be in order. They cost a lot of money, but if you need an advisor, a financial advisor, do what it takes. You need to fix your life. Allah will forgive you after you take these steps. And this is huge, man. Whoever, I don't know who's listening, but if anybody's listening and they're deeply, heavily involved in interest, may Allah take you out, man. May Allah take us out. And finally, for everybody that's living the American dream, dreaming of living the American dream and buying a house, let's be honest, man. You know how many people own these houses? 8.5 million households out of 12.4 own these homes in 2016 at least. Now it's gone crazy. But in 2016, of the 12.4 million households, 8.5 million actually owned their homes. Owned. Like, yeah, they owned them. Their homes were on mortgage. Why? Like, what for? It's haram. It's a headache. It's non-economic. And then the people who don't know how to earn, they don't know how to save, they start spending before they start earning, you're going to incur heavy loss. And as a result of these losses, you're going to lose your home. And because you're playing with the American dream, you're going to lose really big. And you're going to lose everything that you've already invested into this. These are real life stories. May Allah save us. But anyways, I conclude with this. Just ask yourselves these questions regarding that American dream. Is it like absolutely necessary? Do I really need a home with 6 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms and a fat, beautiful pool outside? In Canada, for 8 months, it's freezing cold anyways. Ask yourselves, do I really need something that's beyond my means? Like, I can't afford this, and I know I can't afford this. Do I really need to even go after it? Like, who am I trying to compete with? Who am I trying to compare my life with? Why am I trying to do this to myself? Let's be honest. Why? Why am I going after something that I can't afford? I'm going to buy with money I don't have. For what? Ask yourselves, is it worth to buy a home right now, which is ridiculously priced? And I don't think I'd be wrong. Maybe even 4 times more than what it's worth. Yes, you're in Scarborough. You've got these homes worth $1.2 million. When we were kids, and I used to hear the word million, I don't know, for those of us who can relate to Donald Duck, I think it's Donald Duck, I just used to think ching ching. And now $1 million is a Scarborough home. And like, for people living in the north, they refer to Scarborough as Scarberia. This is like a hood, a ghetto where a house is worth $1.2 million. And why don't I just go live my life headache-free in a nice apartment? Do I have the budget made if I'm going to buy a house? Ask yourself these questions. And if you're going to answer in the negative, it's not worth it. Take care. See you on Tuesday. Assalamu alaikum.